Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Who's Leading the Pack.
All right.
I'm your host, Annie Ford, and this is a show where we sit down with some of campus's amazing leaders and learn more about the role of their organizations at NC State. It seemed only fitting to kickstart our first ever episode with none other than Student Body President Melanie Flowers. Okay, so first of all, welcome, Melanie. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be the first one.
Yes. So where are you taking this call from? Where's home for you?
So I'm living with my parents in Cary, North Carolina right now, but I'm taking this call from Tally Student Union. I just got into my office 3 days ago. This is my second full day in the office, and I'm really happy to be back in Tally.
Oh, amazing. So what's campus like?
Campus feels like an early Saturday morning before like a football game when it's just the early risers and everyone else is kind of doing their own thing. It's very empty. The places that do have people, Court of Carolina, lots of people still picnic, and behind Tally, people still are doing their work, social distance. But beyond that, it's very quiet.
So is the calmness nice, or is it sort of like eerie?
It is nice for reflection with everything going on. It is kind of nice to walk around and really just be able to hear myself think. But I do very much miss the energy of everyone walking alongside you when you're going in between classes or meetings. So the energy is missed.
So you won in a runoff election. So what was that like?
An incredible experience. I still look back on that moment and it brings me so much joy. So at the runoff reveal party, it happens around 9 p.m., about 24 hours before the election result party. Mm-hmm. And so that's when the top two candidates find out and the names get shown, and I screamed so loudly. My Vice President, Mackenzie Heblin, hadn't even registered that we were in the top two. Mm-hmm. And then immediately we had to get into the zone of planning for the runoff election because the polls opened at 8 a.m. the next morning. So less than 12 hours to kind of pull that together, and then 12 hours of voting, which was so much canvassing, pushing out on social media, very stressful. It was really hard to think about anything but the election. And then later that night, we went into Tally, into the SG suite, and got the results, and it was amazing.
That's so fun. So, what was your reaction immediately when you found out that you had won?
Just overwhelming gratitude for the people who had helped Mackenzie and I get to that point. Sam Brohow, Aaron Foote were one ticket that was running, and then Max Stoltz and Hannah Stoltz were another ticket that hadn't made the runoffs, and they immediately gave us their support, and that was instrumental, I think, in really giving us the support that we needed to beat the other candidates. So I just knew Mackenzie and I couldn't have done that without them, and a lot of love in the room.
So that amazing day happened. You find out you're student body president, and then pretty much immediately after, COVID-19 hits. So what has that been like, both for you personally and as student body president?
So as student body president, it came in very, very quickly. We got elected, and at that time, it was the first week of March, COVID-19 had been making headlines globally in other countries, but it hadn't really hit the United States. I don't think that first case in Seattle had made headlines yet. And then over the weekend, the outbreaks in the United States start to increase, and several days later, our campus is shutting down and we're going online. That's very much taken the theme of the term so far this session. There's been a lot of responding to COVID and just learning more about it. I hate hearing that this changes every day and that it's unprecedented, but that's exactly what it is. There's been kind of a learning curve coming in. I'm the kind of person who likes to stay up to date on the news, but I'm not always in the health realm looking at what's going on. And so definitely making sure that I'm educated on what the health guidelines are for best practices with operating with large populations, such as ours. So yeah, just staying educated on everything going on and making sure that the guidelines that we have when we come back to campus are safe for students and still make them feel like they're experiencing NC State and all it has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about online classes? How has that switch kind of affected your role as well?
Online classes don't greatly impact my role. It is kind of difficult sometimes for me to remember that I'm a student first.
Mm.
It's really easy to forget not having to go into a physical space. In the fall semester, I actually don't have any in-person classes. And I believe it's for the best. I definitely think that's a safe option. And the classes I have don't really require in-person instruction. So I understand the necessity of that. However, it takes a lot of cognitive awareness to log on to Moodle and check my email and take those deadlines seriously when I'm not interacting with that professor face to face every day.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that. It's a little difficult to kind of get in that academic mindset when you can literally sit up in bed and hop on your Zoom call for class. So, your peers also recently voted you chair of the student body presidents. So, what was that like?
The Council of Student Body Presidents resides in the Association of Student Governments, which is the governing body for the state for the public institutions, and so they're representatives from each of the 17 institutions that make up the UNC system. I decided to think about running for it because I knew I wanted to be involved in ASG in a way greater than just a member, and I really think that being from NC State, a larger institution, I kind of have the experience of understanding how moving parts impact each other. Our colleges all have thousands of students, different cultures, different challenges, and that kind of transfers over to the Council of SVPs. Our institutions all impact each other. When one institution has a negative experience, the students there have friends at other institutions, and so it definitely does impact us all. And so I was excited to potentially the opportunity to be a part of leading the schools.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that it's sort of promoting unity among North Carolina schools because we all kind of have our differences, especially in sports. But that's really cool that you can kind of unite them all for the better.
Yeah, and they've been an amazing support system. I really enjoy my time meeting with them. They're all incredibly passionate student leaders, and as COVID has happened, as race relations in our country have happened, on our campuses have happened, we're always able to connect and talk about what's going on at our institutions and really provide support for each other. So that's also been a great outlet.
Yeah, that's so nice to hear. So what changes would you most like to see implemented during your term?
Coming into student government, it's our 100th session, which is an amazing year to be a part of. And so there are a lot of projects that I'm really excited to start this year, and a lot of projects I'm excited to finish this year, and projects I'm excited to start and finish this year. There's a local organization who is working towards long-term housing solutions, and right now the program is set up to have students go through an application process and community members go through an application process and then kind of match them together, and they will get to live together, and that community member will house that NC State student for a semester for the year, which is a really great resource. On campus, Mackenzie and I are really passionate about accessibility. We had an alumni who coined the term universal design, which pretty much just means that anything that exists or that is designed is usable by anyone. And some of our areas of campus do really well in meeting universal design. Others are a little more challenged. One of the places that Mackenzie and I identified when we were running was the tunnel behind Reynolds, and that leads to SAS. It has stairs on either end, and there isn't a ramp. And while the free expression tunnel has a ramp, that's one of the really great shortcuts during the day that not every student gets to use. And so we're really trying to push for that to turn into a ramp, so that way students also have that shortcut. That might be a longer term project, but something that we're excited for and hoping that we can get the weight of the 100th session to kind of get us some leeway in it. Within Mackenzie's platform, we had a wellness pillar, which was our largest pillar, and one of the subjects within that was diversity. With the race relations in our country and on our campus, a lot of these platform items have been prioritized, and with the publishing of the petition from the Coalition of Black Student Organizations, a lot of our platform pieces have been met, but we're still excited to continue forth with initiatives like LGBTQ friendly housing and living and learning villages, specifically for women of color and other identities.
All of those sound amazing, and I'm so excited to see what you guys do with all of that. So kind of following forward with things that student government is working toward, what would you say is the best part about being in student government?
For me, student government was the first time that I really felt empowered to have an impact in my community. So I'm actually a transfer student. I transferred from Western Carolina University, and I got involved in the Student Government Association there as a senator. And we had an instance come up, and I was really able to be at the table with administrators, which I didn't expect to have that experience as a freshman. Being a part of conversations with administrators as a first-year student really told me that I could make a difference and that I did belong at those tables. And so I think that the first thing I knew I wanted to get involved in was student government because I loved the feeling of helping students and being an advocate. And so that's exactly what I did. I joined, and I got involved in the diversity outreach department, which was a really great experience for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said it makes you feel really empowered. So do you have any advice for students who are maybe interested in joining student government, but are kind of wary about where to begin?
Yeah, I would say there's no wrong entrance. A lot of students join student government as first-year senators. We also have departments in the areas of sustainability, diversity outreach, athletics, communication, and a few others that really do allow us to push forth initiatives through student government, and those are open to the student body. So that's another really great way for students to dip their feet in the water without taking on too much and kind of learning the ropes of student government. Again, there's no wrong entrance, and it's a really great place to be.
So it sounds like students can kind of get involved in whatever area they're interested in and kind of take that to a student government level.
That's exactly right. And then something Mackenzie and I are really large on is collaborating. So even if a student is involved in student government, if there's a student organization that's focusing on a student issue and student government's focusing on that, we try to reach out and collaborate with them and really combine efforts. So again, the entrances are really endless.
That's awesome. So we've learned a little bit about your role in student government, but we also want to learn a little bit about you. So do you tend to run early, late, or on time?
I tend to run early to meetings, on time to class, late to social engagements.
So you have your priorities in order there.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite Netflix binge?
Ooh. I really do enjoy Friends. It's no longer on Netflix, but that has been kind of a go-to when I'm stressed, I need something in the background. Glee is also a show that I do work to very, very often. I don't know what it is about the show tunes, but it really gets me in the mood to get typing.
So this next one is pretty relevant to your situation right now. What would you do if you had campus entirely to yourself?
Is this, I have the liberty to do whatever I want on campus and it's all mine?
Yes.
Interesting. So something I would love to do is project a movie on like 1911 and do a movie night in Court of Carolina. Court of Carolina is my favorite spot on campus, and I just think that would be such a peaceful, calm moment.
That's such a good idea. And they have the food in the 1911 building.
Yeah.
So you can go grab some popcorn and stuff. That'd be fun. So, what is your dream job?
Ooh, I love this question. So I'm a public relations student, and what most interests me in PR is corporate social responsibility. And my dream is to direct a really impactful campaign. One of my favorites was Nike's 30th anniversary celebration. They highlighted Colin Kaepernick in his protest of the national anthem in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. And he was the face of that campaign. And to me, it really just showed solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement in a way that was so unapologetic. And I would love to be able to do something instrumental like that for a corporation like Nike.
That'd be so cool. So, what is your favorite season?
Fall.
Fall, because we start school.
No, I was actually born in November. My birthday's on the 25th, and so fall's kind of my favorite because that's when I came about.
Got you. That's a good reason. So, would you rather explore the ocean or outer space?
Ooh. I'm going to say outer space.
I like that. Me too. Why?
I am more confused about outer space, whereas I feel like I've learned enough about the ocean that I wouldn't be surprised at what I find down there. And outer space, we're learning about more galaxies that exist, planets that might have life. I think that would be such a more curious experience than the ocean for me.
I would definitely agree with you on that one. Do you have a favorite Howling Cow flavor?
So I always get a waffle cone with a scoop of chocolate and a scoop of strawberry.
Oh, a combination.
Yeah, not because they're my favorite flavor, but that's just my standard order. I don't think I've decided on a favorite flavor yet.
Okay. Which ones are up there? Do you have like a top 3?
I really like the campfire. I don't order it that often. I think I reserve that as a treat.
Okay, I got you. So to end us off, can you give us one word that sums up student government?
Yes. This is my favorite word, and it's not a popular one, but it's chutzpah. In layman's terms, it kind of means you have the guts to do things. I think student government has definitely made some really big moves in the past, and I'm excited to kind of follow in that legacy. So that would be the word that I use.
I love that. That's a good one.
Melanie, thank you so much for sitting down with me today, and thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm your host, Annie Ford, and student government. Good night.